It's Sunday here in Cypress, Texas. I don't usually do my walk and talks on the weekends, and I'm not walking, so I'm just talking. But it's my faith talk. Um, Had a experience on Friday night. So I went to Ingram, Texas, which is like 80 miles north of San Antonio in the hill country, and my mom has a timeshare, and up it's a resort up there in the hills, and my brother and his family, my two nieces and his wife were there, and they had a life-size chess set. Literally, the pieces were bigger than me, right? Big, as big or bigger than me. The king and the queen were taller than me, and everything else was, you know, big compared to me. So you had to walk on the board. So it was a lot harder to play chess that way, being at the level of the pieces, being on the board with the pieces was way harder than being sitting over it, like at God level. It's easier to see everything at God level than it is on the board, ground level. And we both came to that, my brother and I both came to that realization. But it was definitely a parable for me to understand that, right? And it to, like the Hebrew thought, trying to make your decisions and from God's perspective, right? And that's like I'm like still trying to wrap my brain around that, but it's easier than dealing with everything at ground level. So that's something I'm gonna have to implement into my process. Okay, I gotta get back to meditating, or what I used to do. Meditation was always really hard for me to clear my mind. It was like trying to play a mental game of whack-a-mole, shutting out all the subconscious thoughts until I started reading scriptures, and I would meditate on the scriptures that I'd read. But then I started learning the symbolism and the Paleo Hebrew, and it it was too hard to read, especially Matthew. But now I'm thinking, it means something totally different to me. But at that time, I was learning all this stuff, but now it's like when I have the greater the symbolism and the understanding the Paleo Hebrew, um, it's it's a different message. It's like a different, um, yeah, it's definitely a different message. I want to say like it's a different voice talking to me with this understanding, and I want to hear it. All right, have a good day.